this is my story. I guess we'll call it a destructive path. Uh, my first wife and I came to the Lord back in the early 80s, and we were born again. And probably the first couple of years, we were on fire for the Lord. And then the fire kind of dwindled away, as often happens. And I was a nominal Christian at best. I had a strong history of anger and alcoholism in my past. Uh, I'm an Army veteran, combat, served in Vietnam. And that was part of my past. That's another story. My wife was 45 years old and had a heart arrhythmia. She went down and was down seven minutes without oxygen by the time they got a heartbeat. And because of that, she was in a vegetative state when she woke up. We had hundreds of people praying for her, and I was personally asking God to heal her and restore her. And she lived that way for 3 weeks in the hospital, and then she went on to hospice for a week and died. I was very angry with God at that time, and I just kind of gave up. I went back to my bottle for comfort, and it was not comfortable. I would spend a lot of days sitting out on my patio in the summertime, getting drunk, looking up to the heavens and swearing and cursing at God. And I can remember one night I even asked him to come back down to earth, change himself into a man so I could kill him all over again. It was a very ugly time in my life. I had a 15-year-old daughter, and I guess I was just thinking about poor me and not thinking about my daughter Lindsay at that time. But this went on for quite a while, and after a couple of years I met Ann. Ann came off in a bad marriage, and she was divorced, and she was drinking. So we'd get together and go out on dates and dinner and drink. Eventually, both of us quit drinking, and we got married after dating about a year and a half. We stayed sober for a couple of years, and then we relapsed. And it was a rough road for about 4 or 5, 6 years maybe. And then started Bible study fellowship and got herself around with a bunch of Christian ladies and was seeking God while I was still seeking the bottle. And begged me to stop, as I recall, saying that Satan was trying to destroy our marriage. And he was. But I didn't care. I didn't care about anything, just getting drunk all the time. Well, eventually Ann packed up and got her own place, another apartment, moved away, and I kept drinking. I got in trouble with the law. I got a second drunk driving, and my lawyer told me I'd get maybe a week or 2 in jail and some fines. He was wrong. I got 90 days in jail, the maximum. When I got to jail, Ann visited me a couple of times, but because we were separated, she felt that and separated, and she was going to back off. So that left me alone, and I saw a sign on the billboard that said Bible Pod. It was a 10-week thing, and I had the time to go. So I put in for the Bible Pod. I was accepted, and I got in the Bible Pod, and maybe after about halfway through, I wrote Ann a letter. I hadn't heard from her, and I said, if you're thinking about divorce, I would fight that, and there would be a war. She construed that as threats, and so she got a restraining order against me. And that meant I just couldn't have any contact with her. Well, after about 7 weeks, I think, of the 10 weeks that went by in the Bible Pod, I was laying on the bunk, staring up to the ceiling, eyes wide open, wide awake, and God showed up. And only God could do this. He showed me a picture of my mother, and it was a bust shot, and it's actually the same picture of my mother that I have, a wallet size. In the next photo, it was her casket, and it was 1993 when she died, which was significant. because the next scene's like a slideshow for sins that I committed, one after another. He showed me all kinds of sin that I was carrying with me for years, unrepentant sin. And it was so much, I couldn't turn it off. I couldn't wake up. It wasn't a dream. Anyway, I put my head on a pillow and I said to Jesus, take this heart out of me and give me your heart. And he did. And the next morning, I fell asleep. The next morning I woke up and I just felt like a whole different person. So I became a new man, a softer heart, a gentler person, compassionate. And before I got out, I was having prayer meetings at my bunk at night with some guys. When I got out of the Bible pod and got home and was a free man, I couldn't figure out how am I going to get to Ann to tell her what happened to me. I got this restraining order. What made it really difficult is we went to the same church and I couldn't have any contact. I'd see her, she'd see me, but I couldn't reach out to her. It was tough. So I kept praying to God, please put us together. Just give me an opportunity to talk to her. And as God would have it, he found a way, and he did it legally. I had a heart attack. And I went to the hospital, and they were taking me to the OR, and Ann showed up at the hospital. And she came down to OR, and the doors swung open, and I asked for 5 minutes with my wife. Ann came over to the side of my bed, and I said, Annie, I got to tell you what happened to me. I said, long story short, the Holy Spirit came to me, and he did a number on me and changed my life. And she saw my heart and my tears, and I just asked one question, will you forgive me? And she said yes. And she had tears. So I went in and I got 3 stents, and I came out. And a couple days later, I went home. Ann came and picked me up. Even though we lived apart, she would visit often, and we would pray together and talk. And I told her the whole story. It was a whole different ballgame now. God had been working on her life as well. And so when she moved back home, we sold home and we moved to this condo. Over the past 7 years, I've been doing Bible studies, correspondence through Forgotten Man Ministries. I've been involved in 2 or 3 ministries since then. Ann has been involved in ministries. We've been doing devotions and prayer every morning for the last 7 years. Our love has grown a lot stronger. We had one bumpy year a few years ago, but we overcame that. And we got stronger, as God would have it. Anytime we come through something, we get stronger. In these last couple of years, we've really grown. We've really grown. We love the Lord. He's the center of our life. And we love each other. And right now, that everything has just come to a head. On February 11th, I was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And it came out of the blue because I had no symptoms of lung cancer, just back pain. Through it all, they determined that the lung cancer got outside and went to the spine, fractured 2 vertebrae, and into my hip joint and other areas, the ribs and shoulder and other areas. So it's stage 4, it's incurable, they tell me, and it's all there, it's in my body, it's moving. I did radiation therapy for a week, and I'm due up for some chemotherapy soon. Whatever happens at this point, it's all in God's hands. This is what he's chosen for me. He's not done with me yet. I've been witnessing to more people than ever in my life this past month. The peace he's given me through this, the courage, my sense of humor is not even frazzled. It's maybe more so. There's joy and there's peace, there's comfort and courage. And God is going to take me home when he sees it's his time. When he says, you're up, you're up. and I'm ready to go. I don't know what I'd do if I didn't know the Lord. I don't know what I'd do. There'd be no hope. There'd be no hope. I'd be fearful. I'd probably be out of my mind. I'd probably resort to drinking again. But because of His love and His grace and His mercy, I just want to thank God for the strength He's given me and the love He's given me and the heart He's put in me. That's about it.